Hey everyone, you just got done making your beginning of your wire person using this pattern. I forgot to say in the first video that we're using the 14 gauge aluminum wire for this part. So after you make the first step here with the disproportionately long legs for now, we need to make the body look three-dimensional so that if you turn it sideways, it actually looks like it has some volume to it. So here's an example of a body that would have been finished. So if I see it from the front, it looks like the front view of a person, and if I turn it sideways, you start to see that the chest has some volume and the head has some volume. That's so that when we wrap it later with wire, there's something for that wire to sit on. So the first step for that is to take your second piece of 26-inch long wire, the longer one, and you're going to fold it in half again so that the ends meet up. And just like you did with the first one, pull it to the top until you've got an arc there, kind of an oval, so it's like a giant U shape. Okay, then as awkward as this seems, you're going to put this right between his legs or her legs and take your needle nose pliers, hold it in place, and start by pinching that with your fingers to get it as tight as you can with your fingers. And then once you get it secured there, you want to actually go back in and squeeze it so that it's pretty firmly on there. We're going to do some twisting now. Holding this part right here, you can use your pliers to hold everything together because it's going to want to slip apart. Take the first wire and go around once, twice, so that it comes back out on the front, the side facing you, okay? The second wire is going to go the opposite direction. So I'm going around once, twice, and now this one's coming out the back. So if I turn this sideways, it looks like this right now, and it should be pretty secure on there. Okay? Keeping it sideways, when you look at it, you're going to just bulge this part out a bit, okay? If your sculpture is going to be male, think about it as it's coming up here to the waist and going into the neck. If your sculpture is going to be female, you can give her a little bit more of a chest and bring it back up to her neck, okay? So forwards, it looks like this. It's in the center. Sideways, you can see the side shape of that body, okay? Now this part by the neck, you're going to grab with your needle nose plier and again do some twisting. And I'm pulling here as I'm twisting so that that twist is tight. Once, twice, and then up in the front so that it looks like this sideways. People's back doesn't actually, or a person's back doesn't actually just come straight out. It's got a little bit of volume. So I'm going to pull the back up, bring it into the neck again, and then with your pliers, you're going to hold this in place here after you get a little bit of a curve in the back. And the opposite direction, you're going to pull it once, twice, and now it's coming up the back of his head, okay? So from the front, I have one wire sticking forward, one back, and now I've got, from the side view, two pieces right there. Now this is the part where you're gonna have to pay attention. It gets a little bit tricky, but you guys got this. I need to give this guy or girl a chin, which will come down here, and I want this wire to represent the top of their head. So I'm going to pull it through and make a loop, holding it in place with my fingers or with your pliers, wherever you want that wire to connect to the top of the head. I'm going to get it pretty tight, and then that final step is to squeeze it in place so that it holds. And we can bend this head in place later, but for right now, that's about all you need. Okay. Then we're actually going to bring this one back down using the same wire and make the back of the head. So I'm going to round it out with my thumb. Not too much, you don't really want a basketball head, but enough so that the head looks round. Turn it sideways. And then you're going to wrap it one time, tight around the neck. And now you've got an arm on that side, okay? This arm is going to come through the body making one twist just to hold it in place, and it'll come straight out. And that one got a little short, but we can always add on to it later. This is going to make your second arm. Bring it through the body and straight out, so that one's in place too. So you can see that you got one longer arm and one that's a little bit shorter, but it'll be no problem to add on to this arm later, okay? So that's your arms and your head. Now your person's got some volume side to side, but their legs are still stick person legs. So your next step is to take your last piece of wire, which was the 18-inch wire that's shorter than the rest of them, and again, fold it in half. To get that U shape. Pinch it into more of a V. And you're going to bring this one through the body. So I'm coming up through that waist cavity right there. And this one doesn't matter so much how you wrap it, you just want to wrap it in opposite directions. So I'm going to hold this in place with my pliers and pinch it. And then I'm going to bring this wire around clockwise twice. 1, 2. This one's going to go back. And then this one's going to come counterclockwise. 1, 2, and back again. So these are anchored on there pretty well. This part's going to make the person's butt and calf muscle. So that from a side view, if I look at this, you can see the shape of their legs. And it's going to get a little messed up at this point because we're still bending, but get it as close as you can. Hold this in place together. This would be like at their ankle. Then you just twist those wires together at the bottom. And we'll be using this part to create the feet later. You can reshape it as much as you want later on, but for now just get them connected. And then again, this would be the other side of their butt and their other leg. The calf muscles down here. Hold them together and twist. That one keeps wanting to pop out. Sometimes I like using a pliers better, and sometimes I just like to hold it with my hands depending on how short the wire is that you're working with. So now you've got a person who you can see from the front and you can see from the side, and we'll be adding more wire onto him or her later.